It's time for Game 2 then here on the primary stream for IEM Oakland. We're live with the Xfinity Analyst Desk. I'm going to be your host machine for the entirety of the show. Joining me, we have ex-players and all-star gods in their own right. It is, of course, Janko YNK Ponovic and Chad Sponge Birchild from Down Under.
You've done that one, haven't you?
I like how you say nice.
Nice?
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
It's like you've got an A in it somewhere. Yeah, it's lovely. We did just catch NiP versus Astralis. That was where we kind of got a little deflating result with the Danes unable to field their whole roster until Device does get off that plane after some health shenanigans. What we can do, though, is start talking about our next game where SK have already been sweating bullets on the secondary stream with their first game going against Envy. We heard the roars and the highs and the lows of that matchup. Gentlemen, that was a full overtime, double overtime game versus Envy. Now they're going against the NiP we've just seen. I mean, there's a lot to be said.
It's not an ideal start, but they got a lot more rounds to warm up in, right? And it looked like across the board, it was pretty good performance from the majority of the players on that SK squad. It was just RPK putting up massive numbers. I think he ended with over 40 frags. So he won a 1v3 in the double overtime and stuff. He was getting a lot of work done and made the life very difficult for SK.
Yeah, but the new face on SK's roster was not having the most sterling of starts. Bolts, I mean, are we going to give him like a bit of a window now after, admittedly, a fantastic performance in Epicenter? Is there going to be a window of acclimatization for the new edition, Janko?
I think there definitely needs to be one. You also have to remember they went back to Brazil after Epicenter. They played the WESG qualifier with Phelps, not Bolts. So again, they had that period where they were, with the old players. So it's not like they could practice during that time and get Bolts more into the system. But I don't think it's going to. This is probably just an off game for him, like one map. Obviously, it's going to get better with time, but it's not something that we should say. Yeah, they didn't have time to practice. Expect Bolts to not perform really well. I don't think it has that big of an impact for them.
I mean, especially considering he kind of already hit the ground running in Russia.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll keep that considered. We'll bear that in mind. So on the other side of things, we saw NiP now. We've got a little taste. We didn't watch the SK game. It's running parallel to that of Astralis NiP. But we got to see the Ninjas in action. And we kind of had a lot of unanswered questions about the Swedes. Chad, do you think you got any answers from that? I mean, a best of one map?
It's super hard to read into that result, right? The win is fantastic. It's great for their campaign here at this event and to potentially defend their title. But going up against an Astralis who obviously didn't have their star player, right? Device is the star of that team. What can you really take away from that game? We can look at, okay, they won a couple of like lucky-ish clutch situations. Well, Draken had to, put in a bit of work on that pistol round, but that other defuse and stuff, miscommunication, poor play from Astralis in that scenario, so not fantastic work from NiP, more like mistakes from their opponent. And then you can look over and you can say, okay, consistency of fragging. We saw Get Right getting some nice kills, Forrest was doing the same. Everyone was kind of chiming in. So it can be a warm-up match. It can be used in that regard going into this SK game, but we haven't actually seen them be tested. You wouldn't consider a team using their coach as a stand-in as a test by any means.
I mean, we did see them. They came alive in Oakland last year, and now they're going to try and replicate that success with those new names, of course, Rez and Draken, who, well, Draken's already done it. We'll get to see more from Rez in this one, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But how do these guys interact? You don't get to see NiP SK all the time. If you're a Counter-Strike fan, this isn't a matchup you get to dig into on a weekly basis.
Well, last time you got to see it was at IEM Oakland last year in the grand finals where NiP managed to take the trophy. So in that sense, when you look at the styles, you would say that for a while NiP was a bit one-dimensional with a structured style, and it worked for them early on, but then they got figured out, so they were trying to adjust, and you could see the problems with them getting used to the mix between the styles. And then for a while it was the CT side aggression that was a problem for them. They were too passive, which really allowed, when you look at the best teams in the world, you point towards someone like Astralis and you say, well, you have to be disruptive against them on the CT side. You can't let them do what they want. It applies for pretty much every tier 1 team. So for NiP, that was a big problem in breaking through that maybe top 5 or so. But now with the roster changes and time to just practice and think things through, it's going to be interesting to see how they fare against a full lineup now of a tier 1 team like SK. Definitely is the best team in the world.
I mean, there really could be fireworks. I'm crossing my fingers and toes, but we can't even start getting excited about this until we know where the maps are going. Chad, I mean, best of ones, it's a little less engaging for you to kind of theory craft where this one's going, but I mean, just give me a couple, name drop some maps that could crop up.
Cobblestone could again, but here's the thing that just happened. Because that matchup against Envious was so close and maybe they're just not feeling it, the SK side might want to get rid of that one. And NiP historically have been fantastic with their set executes on a map like Cobblestone. So that one, you know, could definitely crop up, but those two factors may play into the veto process.
It's also just one of those things, you know, when you just finish playing a map, you really want to play a different map. Like when you play a Pug Alex, you know, and you're vetoing, and it's like the first map you veto is the one that you just played. So maybe SK doesn't want to play Cobblestone again. Let's try out something new. Let's have some fun. Cache could be an interesting one because obviously for NiP it's been their best map, but also their worst map at times. You know, some of their biggest losses for this team over the past 2 years have been on Cache. Remember the Vegas Squadron game, the flip side in Cologne 2016 that knocked them from the Legends spot, and at the EU minor qualifier, I think it was Pride or AGO, they by a very big margin as well. So they do fare better when they actually play tier 1 teams on the map. So it's one of those weird things.
We can say it definitely won't be Nuke.
You can say that.
We can definitely say that because SK will be banning that map to oblivion. So we won't see that one cropping up.
Yeah, probably no Nuke, no Mirage. If you're NiP, you don't want to play SK on that particular map. It's you know, we haven't seen NiP for a while, so we don't really know what their best maps are at the moment. You know, in practice, what do they feel most comfortable on? Where is Train, for example, on that chart? I wouldn't expect us to see it here right now. SK has shown like flashes of that all SK that had 17-0 win streak on Train, right? Because Bolt fits better into the style that really got SK, that made them so strong on Train. It really allows Fallen to be more dynamic and to have more impact.
So I guess, you know, where SK's Train is now is back to being in the you must fear them on this map category. Because with Phelps, admittedly, we kind of saw that slip, and we saw the likes of Virtus Pro even taking wins against them on that map. And now we can kind of go, right, this is again in the category of fear SK's Train again.
I would think so. I think that the reason for that as well, just so people at home can understand, is because when you have Fur and you have Phelps, both very aggressive players playing up front on the CT side, and I saw this a lot on Mirage because they were both the A holders. If they're playing close A ramp and close Palace and they both go down, it doesn't give the chance for the players to rotate in on the crossfire. It doesn't give the likes of Cold Zero and Fallen to get there in time, you know, when they're playing more of a passive setup to actually trade off or, you know, be there as a distraction to allow them to get multi-frags. Same thing can be said for Train. If they're playing up close Team Mid and Pop Dog every time and they're just being fragged out on, they're giving away number advantages, they're not hitting those shots. It's very difficult to recover from there. Now with Bolts, touch on it every time, he's playing inside. It's Taco who's actually had to make sacrifices on maps, and he's given a lot of space up. Even the T side of Mirage, he's given that position. He used to play apps. He's given that to Bolts. He's now doing that job, and Taco's just being moved around. So there's going to be a teething issue with that. But going up against NiP, I'm still just going to be heavily leaning towards SK's, you know, skill and the fact that they have that chemistry and they can react mid-round better than any team to push them through.
Yeah, and I mean the Taco discussion is one that's interesting in itself. Just the fact that this guy gets, you know, buckets of words I can't say on air. Hate. Thank you very much. He gets there's a lot of it because he is basically in this cement role. He has to basically just fill in all the gaps that these other huge Titanic Counter-Strike bricks are in the wall.
There's not many players left, you know, at the top level of Counter-Strike who are taking sacrifices on every single map and doing stuff for the team in almost every single round. Sure, these guys have the mantra that you need to be able to do everything, but Taco, when they're doing set executes, he's that first guy and giving the information. You know, he will set other players up. You see that a lot with bomb sites that he holds with Cold Zero, for example, and that's how, you know, Cold Zero can be, you know, projected to be one of the best players in the world because of Taco.
Yeah, exactly. It's a team sport, and I mean, there's no doubt about it that the SK are one of the best when it does come to that aspect of Counter-Strike. We can bring up those maps that we didn't get to see them. Let's see if we can glide through that map veto process. You kind of already suggested it wouldn't be surprised if we see a Cobble. Whether or not SK are willing to play that again, you said Mirage and Nuke are off the cards. So far, so good, gentlemen.
Inferno could be a map that crops up.
So yeah, Inferno, Train.
If Inferno goes through, I've seen weaknesses on that map for SK, especially when they had Phelps, right? Their B hold was abysmal. I think, you know, probably what happened at that point was it was told by Fallen, hey Phelps, hey Fur, don't be aggressive banana, right? You're just giving away frags. Then they just sat in the bomb site for an entire tournament and they just got executed on time and time again, and that wasn't very successful. Now the change has Fallen and Fur over towards B. It's much more of a better setup.
Well, you mean there's an answer to your cash question now, Yenko. You were kind of questioning whether or not NiP wanted to go by their live or die by the sword map, but no cash for that. SK have taken that away from them.
Yeah, they also got upset at, you know, at Cologne from Space Soldiers in the opening game on Cash, so maybe it's just we don't really want to play it against teams that are legitimately like good on the map. So we see that NiP themselves get rid of both Overpass and Inferno, so they were willing to play it against Astralis, not really versus SK. And SK has been up and down on the map, so to speak. Sometimes they look really good and they can be very dominant, but sometimes they do fall a little bit flat if they don't get the ball rolling early on. So now it's basically just left between Cobblestone and Train, and seeing how SK is the team to pick that. Yeah. I'm thinking we're going to see Train here.
Okay. Either way, we've been a knife for side, right? So if you're the high seed, you get to decide who vetoes first, and most teams, if you're the high seed, you're going to be the one picking the map. So you're going to be the B in the ban phase. And
let's bring it up. I mean, I don't know what we're waiting for. Yeah, so we go back to Cobble. Okay, so SK, they had the choice of taking it to Train. I'm not sure how much you want to read into that, but they've actively decided and steered clear of a map we consider them to be, strongest at.
Backing themselves on a map that they just went double OT against Envious on. I think it's
double down.
Yeah, well, if it's your best map, you feel the most confident in it from practice, then you may as well go to it every time, right? You have to trust yourself. Even if you didn't have a great game, you can say, okay, maybe the pistols didn't go our way, maybe these mistakes happened, but on a map like this one, I think there's a lot of diversity for a team like SK. They do have a tendency to lean towards B with a lot of their executes on the T side. That's something that Envious, they have quite a defensive hold. They could take advantage of that. But I think this is going to play out, and I say this every time, through the drop room, right? It's such an important part of the map, and I think, the hold that they used to have with Cold Zero there, they've moved him back. We saw in those last moments, they moved him back towards Statue, right? He's playing more of an inside that B role. I think Bolts is the one who's taken over the drop duties.
Ooh, I was unaware of that.
I think.
Okay.
I think.
So that's definitely worth double checking.
Because we saw Bolts
in multiple positions.
Play close B platform as well, so we'll have to wait and see for the game. I would have preferred Train for SK because it just fits them better stylistically. They're very good at being aggressive on the CT side. Fur playing close up on Yard. Then you have Fallen and Cold with the AWP aggressive towards Ivy sometimes, or towards the B apartments. They can be very disruptive and really very strong in that particular style. Cobblestone, just the way the map works in itself, you don't really have much room for that aggression, and we know that NiP can be an execute heavy team, so that plays more into their style. But of course we have to wait and see how the game actually plays out, and does SK have something in store specifically for that sort of a playstyle.
Yeah, and we heard from Threat, of course, NiP's coach, in the interview with Trace, just saying, like, we feel very prepared for this one. I imagine, NiP are not going to be complaining going into Cobblestone, but also the fact that they are feeling well and truly prepared against a team you haven't seen too much of. I mean, how much can you predict SK currently when you've got a player that sometimes plays and sometimes doesn't? You can't look at, like, for example, their games with Phelps. You can't look at, Epicenter, they had no practice. Things have changed. We'll see. I mean, I'm intrigued to know how much the Swedes can truly have prepared for that, at least prepared for their opponent.
Yeah, it's kind of an advantage for SK in a way,
I
right?
feel like
it's masked, and they get to play two different brands of Counter-Strike, which is something which hopefully Fallen has prepped the guys on to say, hey, if we can do this, we can be more of a dominant team. We can do exactly what you're saying, the unknown factor. You just have to lean towards SK, though, because their mid-round decision-making is some of the best in the world. I think, what they do, the way that they react in scenarios, the theory side of CS, they do it better than anybody. And they were one of the first teams who I remember talking to who had that as, they were doing more theory than they were actually in-game scrims and practice. So it's a huge part of the game.
Well, considering the pool that they have to practice against, I don't think that's too surprising.
Okay, and it does sound like the players are knifing now. So just kind of the last question for Timmy, who's watching at home. He's got an NiP jersey on, and he's waving 2 Swedish flags while eating meatballs with his body. I need to know, Yenko, what has to go right for the Ninjas in order to take a big W versus Astralis and SK in their opening matches?
I think it's just individually they have to be very much on point, right? I think a good sign for them is that in that Overpass game versus Astralis, Draken and Rez had a couple of big rounds in crucial moments, 2v3s, 3v4s. They were able to claw their way back into those rounds. And against SK, that's definitely going to happen. You're going to have to be able, when things are not optimal, to somehow find a way to win those crucial rounds.
Okay, well, we know how things are going to go down. We're going to get answers to your questions as well, Chad, because SK won the knife and have selected to start on the CT side. So we'll immediately get to see if Coldzera is going to be in his deadly drop room. That is something that he has been quite the master of. We'll get to see if things have changed again. Bolt's back in the SK roster for us to then delve into another game of Counter-Strike. It was incredibly close last time versus Envy for their opening game. Let's see now how the Ninjas fare as we jump in with Henry G and Sado.
Yeehaw! More Counter-Strike, SK. We get to see what they're up against because they went to a double overtime game with a team that really doesn't do well on land, typically speaking, Envious. So against NiP, who beat Astralis, but without Device. what do we expect?
NiP didn't look fantastic there. I think SK Gaming were very warmed up on this map. Obviously, it was a tough game in the double overtime, but still, they're going to be firing on all cylinders here. Got the strategies down. NiP looked a little bit shaky against the Danes with the coach, so I expect SK to run away with this one, but we'll see. Pistol round coming in. It's going to be third to defend here at long A, and not really much he can do. He'll fall back and allow them to have full control of danger. And that aforementioned position, they've got one smoke to work with here, and the back pocket is this. Get right with the flashbang as well. And it looks like a final A commitment coming in. We've got a bit of presence towards B. That's being shown right now by Draken. He's by the drop-down room. He'll potentially go in for a flank, or maybe just show that he's got some sort of position on the upper platform here.
So Rez toward the bottom of middle. With his teammates approaching long, they've pushed the CTs back, but they think about going toward B. They think B's more open due to the fact that Draken's inside of the site, and suddenly, hang on, oh, look at the minimap. What now, guys? Yeah, he's dead. Because there's still 3 inside of the B site, and they won't have any execution potential when they arrive, losing the first pick. I don't know what is to be accomplished by pushing CTs back so early in A and then full rotating across the map. You've really lost everything you gain, and it's just a big pain in the ass to do it, I suppose, but Rez will jump in, bypassing the tree. Based on a flash, he's got to win the duel against Volts. He's tagged him up considerably, but Cold and Taco are still aligned. And although Forrest gets Cold down, Taco is able to swing back out and find Exist, and the round done.
Pretty convincing towards the end there. NiP with a nice build-up at the A bomb site. Managed to get long A, middle, had all the control in the world, fall back towards B, and they get completely wrecked. SK Gaming look hot today. Going to round number 2. No bomb being planted. We'll assume that we'll have a force buy from NiP. Indeed we will. Deagles, CZs, one smoke to work with here. That's Exist. He can smoke the connector maybe. They haven't got a flash to get to the bomb site. I'm not really too hopeful for this one. Bit of aggression there from Fallen. Used to seeing that sort of play from Fur, but he's dead. Forrest takes him down. That's a nice shot with the Desert Eagle. Looking for a second as well, but he might not get it. He's doing damage, and oh my goodness, he's doing a lot of work here. The 5-on-5 goes to a 5-on-3 very quickly indeed.
Get right, covered off by Cold in the window. He'll jump back outside of it, so far holding on to the drop position, but again, we'll see how that transpires based on weapons and utility and whatever NiP choose to throw at them. They've thrown the lead at them in this round. Forrest with 2 kills is on 38 HP, and he continues to battle it long with a Deagle despite having a UMP. Damage done considerably to Taco as well on 63 HP, and Cold 16. It's NiP that could steal the round back immediately. Vent still in position toward the opening position. And it's immediate to the bomb plant as Draken sits under the window. And this will be conceded. SK's going to have to give this up. They've got a kit on Cold, but they don't really have any chance back into their site, and therefore it's going to be 1-1. So good response from NiP, and it all comes down to really aggression that Forrest really took control of with the Deagle. And in doing so, at least they'll carry over the M4. Draken will stay around. Potentially fall on the sword, but I doubt it.
Well, Ninjas steal one back. Some fantastic work there from Forrest. Opening Deagle kills. He gets them on the board. And the force fire is doubted and no grenades whatsoever. It works out. It's Further goes down first, and he's often criticised for sometimes being over-aggressive against anti-ecos. To be fair, he was actually quite passive there, holding in the danger room at the rifle, taken down from the 1-dig. Not really much they could do about that one. And we do have a force buy in response from the Brazilian side. SK Gaming with scouts, Max 7s, CZs, and we'll see if they can find anything here as we enter round number 3. A couple of AKs available here. This should be an NiP round, considering the lack of firepower on the SK side. I would have preferred to CZ across the board, really, but odds are over the MP9. We'll try and see what he can do here.
Whereas MP9 looking out to the broken wall, Fur's on the other side of it. Flash out, they checked the wrong corner. Shotgun had moved, and Fur gets taken down by Exist, but does decent damage to Rez. Unfortunate, he'll be lamenting the fact that he could not find the kill. I would have liked to have found the kill if I were him.
Sure.
Draken takes down Taco. That also took a bit more than it was worth. Some effort required. Just like everything in life. Don't forget that, kids. almost alive again. He's got a kit, armor, and a flash, and I imagine he'll want all of that carried over.
coldzera with just the MP9 at this point. Can't really do much about this. NiP always been quite good on their anti-eco approaches. Ever since Threat came in, I was always a bit impressed. The resilience they have, they very rarely give away much to pistols and force buys. They're quite methodical. They stick to the fundamentals, don't overextend of our trade potential. So coldzera can't do much about this one. The bomb will be going off the A-bomb site. They're trying to pincer him in. Let's get right in T-spawn, but he won't be required. Reds finds him with swift deagle headshot there. Full eco coming in from the Brazilian side. This is another best of one. NiP won their first game against Astralis. It's round robin. Group of 6.
I see you peering in to look down the line.
I've lost you again. Say again. Hold on. Hold it together. We'll do what we can. Yeah. And we're going to have the Rush B coming in here. It's going to be a clean sweep for now. It's going to be USPs to defend. Rez will find the opening pick. It's a guaranteed round at this point. They went for an A stack here. Normally stacking B is the default option, but they mixed things up and saw what was available toward the B side. They got in there. Bomb down. Well, we'll get one. That might be all he gets, though, and we'll see whether they can maybe find a couple of exit frags here. Fallen with the Mach-10 in hand. It's not really going to be that
Henry,
powerful.
You can hear me now.
I can hear you now. Yes.
Amidst all of us changing dials and trying to fix everything, I realized that I was on a toggle cough button. I'd known that the whole time, but I was paying attention to other things, and that's my mistake.
That is true. You were warned that.
I was warned that, and I was very conscientious of it until such time that I was not. Which is a great statement, that in itself.
Well, luckily, it was only one of those rounds, full eco, and a Rush B. You didn't miss much.
No, I didn't. It's fine.
It's all good.
Don't blame production, chat. That was my fault.
That was.
Put NA Sadokist.
But here we go. 3-1 for NiP. But now
My
the
first
game.
event, guys.
Yeah, it's
Be
true.
nice to me.
The game really begins here. Fallen, of course, AWP in hand up against Draken. Draken has been looking pretty good today, so this could be quite a tantalizing battle. We'll find out. No kits available for SK here. They'll send 4 players towards B. It's Fur to hold danger by himself. Fallen, he's actually in the drop-down room for now. He'll fall back to the connector. He'll be given the task of patrolling middle, of course. It's Bolts. New siding for SK. He'll be towards drop-down. I don't think he gets much done here. Bullied by 3 players, taken down, and Fallen to recover this situation. Not the best weapon for it, but it's Fallen. Close range is his specialty, and they managed to at least equal the situation now. It's a 3-on-3 with coldzera still alive, one of the world's best. We'll find another headshot as he takes down Exist.
Good play from Cold. Swings out from behind the statue. Exist as well. It's downed. It's fine from Draken to bring it back to a 1 versus 2, but bomb down inside of the site and an AWP to get aggressive. He's got to pick his approach correctly because Fur's up close to babysit the bomb, but he finds Fallen inside of the smoke. That'll make it possible. Oh my goodness, I thought he had the time. He's quick when he needs to be sometimes, Draken, especially in the flicks. But he makes up for it. And SK. Fur makes up for it, I mean, rather, but SK takes the second round.
Nice stuff by coldzera. This is a good replay. Like, nothing too flashy, just great movement and positioning, and just knowing what he has to do to win the round at this point. I was actually very impressed by this. The jumping heroics of Exist wasn't enough to secure the round, and coldzera, 3 in total. We're going to round number 6. Money still available for the Ninjas here. Full power once again, but now we're starting to get a bit more stable for SK. They don't want to be reset here. They need to start stringing rounds together. It's Rez. Up against it now. He'll be smoked out of position. It's Draken holding the very top of middle, as you can see on the minimap right now. Right at the back, and looking for anyone to get aggressive. And like we said, Fur known to make those sort of plays, even with an M4. Fallen certainly holds that angle as well. And Forrest starts to dissect the mid-area. Feels brave, walks through the smoke it, gets away with it. He's going to surprise Fur and take him down. What a glorious shot that was.
Decent find to open the round. 1:09 still to work with. His bomb left inside the B tunnel, says lots of occupants nearby to grab it should they find and pick an opening. A further opening. Taco's the one that's going to play toward the B stairs. Forrest, meanwhile, just trying to distract He's essentially isolated himself into a one-on-one jostle for position with Fallen on the AWP. The rest, pretty much everyone, except for the one rotation now, which comes back out from Cold, are on the B site. Cold's going to realize his mistake and go back now because Taco down opens ground to Rez. And NiP could look to extend the lead again to 2. If they can find bolts immediately, they do, but Cold is always a problem, and he's sitting at the rock behind it. In fact, still finds the lineup, but Get Right, good response, and Forrest lurks late. He the one this time to play the offsite. Typically, that's Get Right's responsibility, but it's 4 rounds for NiP, and it works.
Certainly does. I'm liking these opening picks from Forrest. They're so brave, walking to danger. Nice crispy shot to find Furb. Didn't see it coming. They had the smoke down there. They're assuming no T's going to be brave enough to get through that position, but it works out. Eco once again. SK do invest a little bit here. Deagle, CZ, some body armor. This round's always a bit scary. Cold Zero. Very strong with the pistols. So is Furb. The Deagle in towards danger here. Missing the first headshot though. Fallen probably goes down at this point. Let's see, he can find the head just like that. That's not bad at all. They can have a res in the end. They'll take the advantage here. Still a little bit of a dicey round. Could fall apart. Draken's feeling very brave as he goes towards the stables here. He has got some backup in the form of Get Right. Should be an NiP round at this point, unless this stack does wonders.
Get Right could find up bolts. Cold trying to sit back. The surprise manages 1, but only 1. Unfortunately, that's going to be a problem because he's running out of ammunition in the CZ-75, so eventually they will wrap around and overwhelm as Rez finds the kill. It leaves us 5-2 for NiP, which is a great start. T-side of the Cobblestone, you'd expect them to win the half, but SK are sluggish today, I would say.
We didn't catch their performance against Envious, but so far, it's NiP, the more impressive team. They're controlling the pace of the game. Dictating the economy situation for SK as well. We can see another full eco here. P250s, USPs, no armor. And this should be another round where NiP just help themselves towards mid. And Flashbang goes in, check the tight corner. Ooh, just about get the frag on Fur. And now, it should be quite a simple procedure.
You'd expect that at least. Draken. Starts his way in. Is this to be the first exchange with Fallen though? Taco finds it back in there as Draken's approach. AWP doesn't need to lead in these situations against pistols. Why would it? So it's the backs to find the rotation at the doorways instead. And Cold Zero, the last alive. Cold Zero, mind you, with 8 kills. But only 2 rounds to SK's name. 6 now to NiP. Thank you, Get Right, for confirming.
4 kills. NiP looking quite comfortable here. Certainly a T-side of maps, and it's still very early on. We can still bounce back for SK, certainly capable of doing so. All about once again for Fallen, but no armor. Makes things a little bit more difficult, can't be as aggressive. To be fair, there's not that many opportunities to find opening picks on Cobblestone. Towards middle, at the very start of a smoke, long A is an option as well, but Fallen will hold towards danger for now. Just watching the door, tight little gap there, just to spot anyone trying to sneak through.
Down on the flames. Will not be able to see through to find Taco. Not to take one step too far to the right there, Rez. He'll end up like Zonic after Dupree slapped him in the backside. Wasn't that funny? They just laugh.
I like
I
that.
appreciate it.
It was more just like acknowledging your humor. It's just like, oh, he's tried.
But my humor's not for you.
I'm still allowed to do what I want.
That's true, you are. Good point. I like that. I just like to associate everything in a continuous timeline.
Yep.
And that happened today, so it's relevant. Fallen. It's going to sit toward the top of danger. Peeks down, expecting perhaps in the passive angle that they've already taken over the bottom of middle, and he's not willing to take the fight or reclaim the territory, which in fact is not occupied currently by NiP. NiP's got them on the back lines as a result. This is going to be an interesting flashbang. Fallen puts Fur out. Fur goes aggressive. He'll confirm that Forrest was there. Drops down. That funnels them toward Fallen. So in tandem approach, it kind of works out for Fallen in the end. He gets the shot he was looking for. Now he'll be ready without them going toward danger. That'll funnel them toward the top of the site. Oh, the ramp. He approached and was poised up for it, but couldn't find the shot. It's still NiP to get entrances as Forrest trades back on Fur once more. Draken, unfortunately, is outmanned.
No
but
scope.
he's going to go aggressive. Oh, that's an interesting play from Cold, but a better shot from Draken. Bomb still down. He can immediately go aggressive. I don't think he was expecting Taco to be rotating around quite so soon.
I thought a jumping no-scope was about to happen there. I could kind of feel it. Good attempt there by Draken. Time ticking down, 10 seconds. Nice move from the CT by the balcony area. Just here, he sneaks through the smoke there, but still, Draken is aware. Nice, fast flick. And had a chance to win that one. All it took was one more shot. Couldn't get the bomb down, had to go for the kill. Positioned by Taco, and it's another round on the board for SK, but only one player surviving. NiP win this, they're going to fully reset them. It could be a double eco coming in. Still an uncomfortable situation. Glass cannon AWP once again for Fallen. A couple of Famis's there, almost no utility, one kip. NiP know if they can get this on the board, they're in a very, very good position going forward.
Smoke down again, standard formation toward the long approach. Rez this time Tag the 24 has to be very careful in that corner. There's not really any damage-dealing utility aside from one Molotov, and that's with Fur. Rez still watching the angle. Wants the headshot if it approaches itself. Down drop with an op, always tough. But looks for the angle up close. Cold's playing passively, and he's actually watching toward long. It's Bolts, therefore, that is going to be the one tasked with watching the drop room. Confirms suspicions, or at least the theory, that they'd swap the positions. Tries to find Cold, at least opens things up. As Draken tries to get the shot behind the rock, rather just an ambitious flick, I believe. Didn't even spot Bolts, but Bolts is there. Certainly with the FAMAS, he'll try and isolate the angle. Smoke goes down, actually helps him because there's a gap in it. He can hold the one direction, but it's Get Right that gets inside, it gets beyond. It's Fur that's going to have to rotate over and try and clutch it back 1 versus 3, and I don't really think he fancies it considering it's a reset.
Good attempt by Bolts there. Did everything he could. Stuck quite literally between a rock and a hard place. As he got one kill with the FAMAS, couldn't find the second. He knew exactly where he was. I thought he could sneak one in. If he gets a second kill, makes it a 3-on-2, Fur probably comes and joins him. But regardless, he'll go down, and that's a huge reset for NiP. As SK Gaming will have almost no money going into the next round. They could be double eco here, or they might just force by into this round and hope for the best. It looks like the Deagle's coming out. I haven't seen any armor just yet. Oh, there it is, Gold Sarah. He is all in. So, PD50s, Deagles, they haven't forced this. Money's still just going to be so weak as we get deeper into the half here. 7-3. And NiP just need to be very careful not to give anything up to these pistols. These should be lock-ins, these rounds. Draken going into a situation with no trade potential here. That's a problem. He needs to be flashed in at least here. Walks into this corner. Fur's going to take him down. They need to be aware of these little angles that can be troublesome at times. And Draken, there's the backup. He'll be spotted, but it gets the frag. Well played for us to actually take the kill.
Ooh. Forrest nearly gets a second one as well. Fallen tagged considerably down. As Draken will get the kill as he falls the other way, or rather climbs the other way if you want to be literal, going up the stairwell back up danger toward long. Taco, Cold, and Bolts. 7-3, 8-3. Is about to be achieved, I believe. SK, keep in mind, even though they won the first game against NB, they only get 2 points for doing so. So this format, if they continue to slouch,
yeah,
is going to
that's
be
a good point. It's like the first tournament, LAN at least, I think we've ever done this.
Yes,
where we have overtimes that only get, I think it makes a lot of sense,
it's
right?
the Pro League system.
Yeah, and I actually really like it. I think that's cool. I think like if you're going to slug out 30-plus rounds, like there should be a penalty for not winning in regulation and some points for getting that far. I think that's a really good compromise. Another eco there for SK, like I said, and this is not the game I was expecting. I thought SK would completely run over NiP, but they've played a great game so far. Forrest, especially with his openings, has been completely wrecking the defenses of SK Gaming. This should be quite a simple round. Draken's looking sharp at the moment. One of the more recent pickups, the young duo of Rez and Draken, actually becoming somewhat the stars of the team. Rez especially looking great recently online. Cold Zera, USP in hand, will have a chance to find some shots here, but I think he goes down here. Yeah, Get Right finds him. And it will be a 4 versus 1 tackle with just a Deagle here.
Taco Not able to do anything at all against the remaining guns of NiP. Forrest is looking sharp this game. 12 kills for him, 14 for Rez, oddly enough. I would have thought Forrest was leading the way based on the amount of times I've said his name.
Yeah, Rez is just doing solid work right now. Glass cannon again for Fallen. How many times has he had to take the AWP out with no armor? It's not such a huge deal on Cobblestone, but it does affect your confidence. You know you're vulnerable to grenades. You can't go super aggressive in certain positions. As we take a tactical pause here. Get right calls it. Forrest seems like he's doing the majority of the talking here.
Yeah, tactical pause obviously for NiP.
Just to know, they're all using the NiP mice there. Like, it's rare to see players actually conform to their sponsor obligations, you know, and like actually properly use what they're sponsored by. It seems like most of them are doing it. It's quite nice to see.
They're properly branded, so why wouldn't you? I think a lot of teams are given the freedom of choice within the range of mice. So, for example,
that's the best form of advertising right there. The players are actually happy to use them.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, putting the logo on it is one thing. Because, for example, like Cloud9 uses a specific company, but there's nothing that indicates that, and they all use a different model within the range.
Yeah. So
you don't really see it as prominently.
There we go. Round number 13 coming to the last few rounds here. SK Gaming needs to start arriving. NiP encroaching on double digits. They do have utility this time, though. Like I said, Fallen without the armor. Not a huge issue as he holds towards middle there. Rez, who's been playing wonderful CS today. Smoked off for now, just trying to bait out whatever they can with their CTs before they make their final commitment. Just firing some speculative shots there. Exists, looking for anyone pushing the upper platform. Taco will use that opportunity to spam back. No damage inflicted yet.
So Draken will wait. With Rez in front, he'll actually start to go now. Gets slightly impatient. Perhaps they need to find an opening. A minute to work with as they clear off the archway. Smoke thrown from afar, which means Rez knows there's likely not anyone nearby. He goes through it, finds Cold Zero in transition, and on top of that, gets bolts as well. I take back what I said about Rez not leading the way. 3 kills on entry.
It's not bad.
Phenomenal performance.
I'm starting to become a bit of a fanboy for him. He's actually just getting better and better. A young player, like a rookie this year. And he's keeping up with the very best in the world right now. And actually making them look quite average at times. It's going to be Ferb finding Forrest up. Easy frag for him, but doesn't really affect the outcome of the round whatsoever. It will be double digits for NiP. Fer recovers the AWP. Loss bonus now will be at 4th stage, meaning each CT player will have $2,900 into the next round. They're currently all on 0. That's not really a forced situation, but given the fact they're 10-3 down and they save an AWP, I think they definitely force it. They just need to get these last 2 rounds. They can't afford to give anything else up. Very quiet scenes over in the SK camp. It's Fer who might not even save the AWP here. Hitting some nice shots. NiP have so much cast, they might as well try and take him down and exist. Being a little bit too tentative there. Had a chance to strike. 8 HP for Fer. Making noise as he jumps around. The flames will protect him for now. Oh, he's so smart. The fact he gets towards middle as well just eradicates risks in terms of his chances of survival here. Here's the last player coming in. Nails that as well. He actually gets all 5 kills. He gets an ace, but they don't win the rounds.
Yeah, exactly. That's not common.
No, that is not.
Should I ask my friend for a statistic on that one too?
No.
Okay, we'll leave him be.
It's not that interesting, but it's kind of cool.
I find the things that are irrelevant in life interesting.
Yes, that's what I said.
It's like quantum mathematics.
But the fact he gets 5 kills, right, means he can actually drop a weapon now, and they force around this. So it's not too bad.
I'm sure someone out there is resenting the fact that I've said quantum mathematics are irrelevant.
Yeah.
But until such time that you can prove, like, transportation through a form of life in some mathematic algorithm or time travel, I really think it's irrelevant. I mean, okay, yes, things are made up of... Anyway, I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't.
It's just
save it for your science podcast you do.
I do it with, actually, Tom Cruise every week.
It's hasn't taken off like we had hoped, but...
well, it has. We have buildings all around the world.
Okay, that's true.
Every city, and we take a lot of money from people for no reason.
10-3, and we'll see whether this slow contact play coming in from NiP will yield any sort of results. Taken down, but a nice reflag. This has been such good trades. There's a real solid team play from NiP. Luckily, though, for Cold Zero, he manages to find an advantage. Bots chimes in as well, and we should have 10-4. It's been a really rough half for the Brazilians. But for now, it's up to Draken once again. He doesn't mind if he goes down here. They've got plenty of money for the last round. He was hoping to find maybe 2 or 3 kills and make it really troublesome for the last round here, but SK have done it. Looking for 10-5 now. Certainly possible. The money's okay. Not a devastating half. Win the pistol in the second, and they're absolutely fine. But they lose that, potentially could be going down 13-5. That's even though they pick this round up. So we'll have a look. For Fallen, nice full buy here. It's the second time in the game, and Fur, with that aggressive play that he's known for, he'll get tagged up in the process. Draken hits him in the leg as he falls back, so down to 14 HP. Still the advantage for SK once again.
Rez still trying to find the same angle toward Taco. Same results. You immediately have a smoke down in front of him. Rez is going to go through it. No flash, just wants to take the position. Double smoke gets him to the box again. He catches them in transition. His timing on entry has been flawless, I have to say, every single time. Bolts will get one back and exist, but Rez still is in an angle in which he can find further kills. Smoke down, flash down. He's able to get right in to save him against Taco. That's going to give them the side boost up as well to catch off anyone that's trying to work in from the tree. And Get Right sees immediately over. Cold goes down. Fur with 14. 11-4 for NiP. What a half.
That is forcing their way. The bomb sites there. Rez with all the confidence in the world, hitting every single shot. It's such an impressive performance. Like I said, a rookie in 2017 joins NiP, and he's looking like one of their absolute superstars. SK have a lot to do in the second half, and we'll find out if they can recover after the break.
Phenomenal start to the game by Rez. Doesn't quite get the first half 20 bomb, but call it a win because 134.9 ADR, 135 for those of you who round up.
The thing is, he was getting all the assists as well. He'd get in and find 2 kills on the B bomb site, and everyone else was just clearing up all the damage he'd done. It was a phenomenal performance there. Everyone else was just kind of there for the ride. Rez opening things up for us, had some great rounds as well, and we find ourselves at 11-4. NiP win this pistol, it's pretty much done.
Interesting note as well, Bolt's in that picture wearing an SK hoodie. Last time he played with them, he was on loan and had to wear the Immortals jersey.
That suggests it might be an official deal now.
Speculation's one of my favorite things in the world.
Well, there's the first headshot. Rez might not do as much damage, but bailed out by Get Right, and he gets another headshot. The bomb down. This is looking great now. Rez still low HP, but we still have an equal situation. Call it maybe done as Rez goes down to the B bomb site. It's going to be a 2-on-1 situation. Draken to come with the retake. He can see the bomb though, Matt. If he comes around the corner just a little bit more, there it is. Now he's got all the information in the world. He adjusts his setup here and wants to hold a tight angle. Listen out for a footstep. When they touch the bomb, that's when he strikes.
The shots at far. He might just strike sooner, but can't find the kills. Fallen wins it instead. 9 HP when he did so. With the palm down and bolts low, probably important that he did so, to be fair, but it's the round 2 SK in a round they very much need. 11-5 now our score, but they get a chance to potentially build up a bank.
Now, NiP, and especially Threat, know exactly what they're doing in these sort of situations. With this sort of lead, you do not need to force buy here in the second round. You can get upgraded pistols, but keep about $1,000 in your back pocket and focus on closing this game out in the gun rounds instead of trying to steal rounds away and leave yourself very limited in that first gun round. That's exactly what they do here. With the CZ, 4 Deagles, exist with smoke and an HE grenade. So they still have a chance here with the Deagles. If you're going to get a 1 Deag, it's unlikely you're going to get shot in the first place. You're going to just hit that first bullet, and that's how you get the kill. So the armor is a little bit trivial at that point. So I really like this approach, and we'll see if it works out. Draken misses out on the shot, but does do some damage. Looking to find him on the retreat now. Takes him down to 55. That's Taco, just to note. Be backed up by Rez there. They have forced them back to the B halls. We haven't got we have got 1 rifle, I was about to say. SK usually do this SMG focus, but this time Bolt has got the Galil. 2 MAC-10s and a couple of UMPs around him.
For following in the footsteps of Fallen's position. Actually, excuse me, he's going up toward the top. It's Bolts instead that's out toward long, limited by the smoke. So Cold will get aggressive. Rez gets the kill. Fur needs to follow it and does so. And couldn't step much beyond the end of the APC for this exact reason that Forrest had the angle covered off. In fact, does so successfully. Ooh, with the deagle. I thought that was going to hit.
Yeah, me too. Not meant to be, and it should be another round here for SK Gaming. They are in recovery mode now as a pretty tragic first half for them, 11-4. But, ooh, nice shot by Draken. They'll get the 2-0 here, presumably 3. Shouldn't be any reason to force buy in the third round here from NiP. Let's be focusing on the gun rounds now. Still with a massive buffer in terms of the scoreline right now. It will be 11-6, and Draken's still trying to make things very expensive. As he edges his way towards the bomb site, Taco's still there. Frank comes through and should be able to take care of Draken. Does some damage towards Bolts, but not enough to find the frag. Good attempt, 3 kills found, but ultimately that's the result SK were looking for. Full eco now, maybe some P250s. That'll be all that's purchased here.
All that is purchased. Bolts will smoke toward the bottom of middle. That's exactly where NiP want to post themselves. Tracking inside and underneath. Goes out, looks wide. Can't quite find Bolts. Excuse me, as he snaps back to find Rez. He'll try and hold the same angle with the Galil, but can't do so. Exist gets the shot in return, and Cold at far will take down the aforementioned player, leaving us with just Forrest. And he'll fall back to the site. But not much to do in the round, I'm afraid. In fact, Taco already greets him there.
Absolutely nothing to do there. Still get 2 frags, not too bad. But now the half really begins. The AWPs are out, the rifles are there. There's a replay of the Galil work from Bolts. Well, we'll give you 1. We'll leave you guessing. MAC-10, bit of a bonus situation. If I'm SK right now, I'm just 1 round on the board. I'm not trying to save cash. I'd be upgrading that MAC-10. And trying to see what you can do with it. They're going to go for a fast play here as the bonus rounds usually go down. Get right. Does find 2. Does very well there. Maybe even the third as Rez will come through. Forrest takes him down, but he fires through his teammate. It's still okay. It's a 3-on-2 situation, but the B bomb site is under control by the T's. The plant comes through, and it's up to Forrest to find 1 kill here to secure the round. He does that, and he gets the second. He can't quite, but they know exactly where Fallen is now.
Fallen can still play the angles as a flash. Forrest would have been on them sooner if not for the first flash. This one buys time. Fallen does another so close, but resets the gun and takes down Draken as well.
Wow. How does he manage to pull that one off? They know exactly where he is. They try and take him down together. He just dances around the bomb site like a maypole. and manages to find the frag to fall. Forrest did enough for it. That's why I said I thought, gets one kill, that's enough, get the intel. But Fallen technically had 3 versus 1 there, and he pulls it off with a magnificent shot to close out the round. And that could be the start of the resurgence here. It was Get Right who did all the work and dropped down. And remember, that was a bonus situation for SK there. They came in with 2 SMGs, one of which was a MAC-10, and they come out on top. There's going to be another eco now for NiP, and the pressure starting to mount. They can feel this lead slipping away.
Certainly can. Sweden yesterday took down a juggernaut in Italy. Another soccer nation. Brazil, different sport.
Yep.
Game. And it could be controversial if it comes to the fact that SK went to overtime against
an
NiP.
equal upset, I guess.
It would be rather significant with the point system as it is, too.
Absolutely. It'll be NiP right at the top of that table, almost guaranteed to qualify at that point. But here's Draken trying to shut it down. Nice aggressive approach. 2 kills. This is all going wrong. It's a Zeus frag as well, Matt. 4 on 2 now, and it all falls apart. This is a full eco, pretty much. What in God's name has just happened?
A Zeus skill.
A Zeus skill comes in.
Oh my goodness, we seldom see them, and not when they matter as well. This one certainly does, because it's just Taka remaining, and there's pressure applied to his position. AK's picked up for both Exist and Draken. He's down to 1 HP. 1 HP, 1 versus 4? Don't think so. This is going to be NiP picking up their 12th round inevitably, and Get Right confirms it with a MAC-10 at range.
They just didn't see it coming. Rushing long A with the USP through the flames. A couple of kills come in. This was the play. The dink's just there. Exist backs him up. Oh my goodness. I wanted to see the Zeus frag from Get Right. I assume it was in drop down. But what a round that was. Draken with another 3 kills. It's Rez and Draken there, pulling out all the stops here. 12 to 8. Money actually weak for SK now.
Try and work inside of the B tunnels. Rez is going to pop out with a Molotov in front of him. A smoke that goes deep. This will give him a chance to peek as he likes. They'll Molotov the close corner as well, so he can cross over to the archway. But they just want to confirm the corner is clear. They'll spray in as the smoke gets deployed to make sure no one is in there. And if they're transferring, well, get some damage in where they can.
He drowned him. Escape. Against the ropes. Couple of rifles, couple of pistols. No real map control coming through yet. They have got danger. That's something. The bomb's still down in the B halls, though. It's up to Exist to defend long A as they make their final play towards this side of the map. This looks like a distraction. They could fall back all the way from B halls, which is looking like the play at this point. Bolts with the pistol. Great at close range as Exist calls for a teammate to rotate. That's going to be Forrest, makes his way towards the balcony.
Fallen and bolts. Work toward the site. Needs to the backside as Exist takes further damage. Forrest wants to swing out and try and shut them down, but he himself is found by Taco, and that allows Cole to get underneath of the balcony. Fur waits for Get Right's approach. Things are definitely falling apart on the NiP side, despite winning the last round in a very odd fashion, shall we say?
Very odd. A full eco.
And this is going to be a full reset.
With pistols down.
Thank you, James. Black Henry G.
I saw DDK last night. He's on my mind.
Did you see him last night?
Yeah.
I thought he had obligations of...
I convinced
he
him.
had some paperwork to do?
I convinced him. I gave him the old guilt trip. Works every time.
Yeah, he's not got the strongest of conscience. Hey, you know what? Congratulations, DDK. I want to give props to him for taking 4 weeks to do his AMA. Finally did answer all the questions.
Nice.
Not bad. Definitely still topical and relevant, and everyone sees them at this point, but it's
yeah,
fine.
no one's going to see it until the answers. But he's done it. Either way. 12 to 8. SK still the round back there. 2 rifles, pistols. No Zeus frag required there, but they had to get the job done. Towards long A is where they went. Took down Exist and Forest, and the round was pretty much done. Fur watching the flanks. I think this has to be an eco now for an NiP.
Yeah, I mean, that was a force buy brought out from SK after they themselves
Well,
were
to be
beaten
fair,
by
they won a full eco, right? So the money's actually pretty decent.
True. It is a good point. They didn't lose investment for each of the deaths previously.
So that kind of cancelled out that round just there. So they're okay to actually get something decent out here. So it's not a complete disaster. Double AWP set up for the first time. Just to note, anyone who's maybe not followed CS for a while, I'm not sure. But NiP beating SK on a map like Cobblestone, considering their current storylines, would be a massive upset. Like, SK considered technically the #1 team in the world right now, and they should be comfortably winning this one. They lost 11-4 in the first half, but the comeback is on. They need to break the money of NiP once again to tie things up.
Taco. Molotov's down in front. Don't think the res was spotted. Matt Hobbit, but he'll pop out. Oof, gets the spray.
Hello.
How did that last bullet? I thought he was done spraying. I was going to say, gets a lot of damage, but somehow he gets the kill as well. Not bad.
Through the wall. How'd that? Double AWP setup. Hasn't had to do much yet. Rez, who's had an absolute blinder so far, opens things up. Mid control comes in from Bolts as Forest waits towards the danger. I like this boost coming in. This is quite smart. Fallen doesn't get much for it, though. They are still silent, though. I'll have a look above. Trying to get maximum vision there while he's unscoped. Finds nothing. Molotov's the corner, trying to flush anyone out. It's getting an opening pick, and it's Forest that hits the next shot. 5 on 3 now. Bolt's going down. And then NiP with the flank. This is just looking glorious. You don't have to find this coexist. You can just play for the time, but Fallen says no. Quick scope towards middle, and the round starts to fall apart. First strikes from the connector. Time ticking away, and the bomb's down in the upper platform. Forest might decide the round's fate as Draken, and we'll get the final shot there. Predicts a player walking out of the drop-down area as the smoke blooms. And 13-9 comes through, and the money, it's okay for SK. They can force into this once again. It'll be like a similar sort of situation with 2 AKs and pistols. I think that's all they can do. Galil for Fallen. Fur and Bolt still yet to buy. This is do or die time, so they opt for the firepower in terms of getting the Galil and armor out, but still a very difficult round here. And AWP to work with going to the very last few rounds.
We are indeed. NiP forcing this out to a 13th round. Does put a lot of pressure on SK. This Draken stares down toward Long B, but that's deep smoke will leave Taco behind it, so no one out in the open for Taco to find. Excuse me, from Draken to find. Confusing the roles as Forest. Flash to bottom mid, but not really to much effect. No one to peek off that, it's simply just a deterrent. When he's actually watching the smoke to make sure no one's going to push through danger and find his position. Instead, it's get right as well. Flashed off the angle. That will call Forest back on the AWP because he's going to have to watch the top side of middle. And therefore, he's going to have Exist to cover his back. He can't do it. Cold Zero finds the kill, but Forest with a great shot up close is able to get it back. Rez times in, but unfortunately for them, Fallen and Bolts are better positioned and better suited to take the site. Rez has to step up, nearly gets the angle right, but Bolts wins out the round.
How do they keep staying alive with this horrible financial situation? When there's a will, there's a way, and SK Gaming doing it every single time. Bolts with a 3K there with the Galil. And once again, it sabotages NiP as they're in homing distance of closing the game. They just can't find that round that will break the money right at the final hurdle here. 13-10, they'll take a full eco. SK Gaming still alive and kicking here on Cobblestone. Shouldn't be a result that goes in favor of NiP, but we saw what happened before. An eco rush towards middle. A surprising one of that. He ordered a round victory out of nowhere. That was quite bizarre with the Zeus kill coming in as well. I don't think we have any Zeus action in round number 24 here. We don't, unfortunately for you. But we'll see what Bolts can do as he makes his way out long A.
Just got room to work with.
It's a beast stack.
Yeah, so he'll walk in and sit to cover. And this will put us to 13-11. I'm not really sure what I expect in this game. NiP had such a solid T side, but now it's SK that keep somehow finding rounds. It's not like they've looked as convincing in doing so. Rez still leads the way at 27. The fact that NiP are so close to the finish line, it's really an economic struggle for them. Whereas SK seem to be finding map control and decent trades.
Easy procedure there for Bolts. 4 more kills for him. There it is. If you're not aware, Bolts came in to replace Phelps and try and... I'm not sure. Like it felt like the other lineup, like they were missing something, and Phelps, I think, volunteered to leave. He felt like he wasn't really happy with the team anymore. His role was starting to get a bit diluted with Fur's similar play style. It wasn't really working out for them. As soon as Bolts joins in, they win Epicenter, and what a win it was as well. An epic best-of-5 grand final. It seems like he's officially in the team now. He won't be attending the major. It's another eco for the NiP boys here. Bolts with 5 kills now in 2 rounds. Looking for a little bit more.
Decent shot from Cold Zero. Finds Get Right, peeks out, spots 2 shoulders. Can't decide which is more a tantalizing target, and either way, it may not matter because it's going to be Forrest down. Draken just the last alive, and Fur is quickly rotating in behind him. He'll at least get around the corner and keep his back from being exposed, but we're going to have a 1-round game between us. And that's confirmed. 1-round game indeed.
Here we go then. SK Gaming managing to pull the 11-4 deficit back. 1 round separates them between NiP now. All power for Draken. Rez got a little bit quiet recently, but still with the lead. It's round number 26. We will be going the full distance here. Get Right heads towards the drop-down area, and it looks like Cold Zero wants to challenge him there. In terms of the approach, it's Draken this time, changing things up slightly. He's gone towards Long A with the AWP. They have been struggling with the mid-presence of SK, helping themselves that part of the map every single time. Actually, 3 players. That's the adjustment coming in from the Swedish side. Exists close to the doors for us to try and bait him in. Draken can just focus on Long A at that point.
With the spray through the doors. Fallen will jump over the bomb so as to leave it where it lies. Not wanting to be responsible for it, as he has the AWP to try and find an approach. Rez. With Get Right boosted, still covers off the stairs. Get Right's revealed that he's boosted with a quick shot toward E-Box. Nade goes through, he's trying to find further damage. Fallen knows he's there, so Get Right naturally changes the angle to get more defensive. He needs to, because Rez has gone down, so Get Right has to cover the entire side himself. With Forrest at Rock, he'll swing toward the statue because it gives him a chance to watch platform, but he elects to try and set a crossfire instead. Fallen and Bolts will tear it apart. And the round goes to SK Gaming, naturally.
All tied up. B bomb site, just as NiP adjusts and send most of their firepower towards mid and Long A, and it all falls apart. Pretty much everyone in SK contributing to that round. Taco, he goes down. He's having a very quiet performance. 9 kills, 17 deaths. The rest of his teammates, so all around the 20 kills mark, so they're making up for it. And NiP have let this one slip away. They haven't really got much going at all in the second half. 2 rounds in total. It's been a very one-sided affair. Every time they win a round, they get reset. Remember, one of which was a full eco, so they've only won 1 gun round so far. Not looking too good, and these are the most gutting ones to give away when you have that huge lead. You grind it out, you keep getting reset, and then you lose like 16-14.
And NiP were somewhat tested against a lopsided Astralis side.
Sure.
Didn't have Device this morning. He has landed at this point in time, as far as I know.
Yeah, landed at 12, I believe.
He was due for 12, so he's been here an hour and a half, which means he actually should be either at the hotel or at the studio.
Valet traffic? I'm not sure.
Midday, Monday? Yeah, maybe it's a little more than 40 minutes. We were 45 minutes Sunday night when we arrived, so...
Yeah, I reckon he'll probably arrive in the building next half an hour, I'd imagine. Either way, another eco for NiP. There's been a lot of ecos there for them. Deagles across the board, and the first frag attack, like I said, quiet game for him so far. Nice to start building up his confidence towards the end. And only get 1 though. Rez looking devastating right now. He's very, very good at the fragging department, but Cold Zero might even be better. 3 kills for him. Get Right will find a second, but he's the last player remaining now as Forrest comes in. He has a chance to win this one. 2 versus 1. No armor, no rifle to speak of, but he knows where they are. But Fallen finishes things off, and SK Gaming now, after going down 11-4, have the lead at 14-13. What a comeback this would be.
Incredible. I mean, this is reminiscent of some of Navi's best games on this map, where their CT side was abysmal.
Yeah. I mean, get it done on the T side.
Rez looked a bit like Olaf, by the way.
Looks
His
like
first half. No, I mean, in terms of the playstyle.
Yes,
that used to be Fnatic's strategy. They call a timeout and be like, Olaf, just walk out B, kill everyone, please.
The upper platforms, get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a monster. A Meister.
Ooh,
like
see
that?
what you did there. It's good because Monster's on Overpass.
Yeah.
We're on Cobblestone.
Yeah. He's here all week, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry to inform you. Someday they'll
With more
wise
classic content.
Yeah, someday they'll wise up and get rid of me. I mean, I'm way past my best before date at this point in time.
But you do your best work in the arenas, and that's when it all comes together. So,
Bolt sprays down. Flash goes over, and Fallen will continue forward with the AWP bolts in front of him. We'll slow down and back off.
double orb setup. Forest and Draken. Trying to hold off the SK Gaming members here as they make their way towards the B side. Should be a simple execution if there's the one smoke and a flashbang available to the T side. They are smoked out. That's really well played by Rez to drop that smoke at this point. They can't really wait around for that to fully expire. They're going to have to go for it. Rez knows it. Surely needs more than one kill here, but Fallen! Close range takes him down. Equal trades though, 3-on-3 as Draken desperately tries to stay alive here. He misses the shot, and maybe that's the round that slips away. Forest has to come through and try and deny the bomb. It's not going to happen. Fur takes him down. It was the play from Rez. I thought it was enough that the smoke down. The player's coming through, and Fallen somehow, of course he does it, nails the shot. And it's Fur with 3 in the round. And they find match point.
A point secured at least for SK. Remember, they only got 2 last game. They've got 1 at least in this game, and the best NiP could get is 2, if that, because SK are on map point, and NiP are struggling. I mean, 11-4. To not get anything at all, have an economic back and forth at the start of this, and naturally there's going to be a NiP timeout.
Yeah.
I won't even name Nick here. What's your middle name?
James.
That makes so much sense. You really are Black Henry G.
Goodness. Edgy content.
How is that edgy? Everyone calls him Black DDK.
What has that got to do with me?
Because you called me Dan earlier.
Okay.
So you're just the James now. You're reading into it as if I'm like subliminally trying to portray something. I'm not.
Round number 29. UMP's out. Famuses, M4s. We'll see whether they can pull this one off.
Spray down toward the bottom of the middle. Anyone that wants to get aggressive will be punished. It's just SMGs of a Moss of 1M4. Naturally, they'll give that to Rez. Cold Zero. Wait with Fur, and they can look to go down. Flashes off, should cover Get Right's position, at least hold him off the angle ever so slightly, but well-timed incendiary as a result of it. They'll know, therefore, he's toward E-Box. Little game of I can one-up you with another nade toward Get Right.
1 minute remaining. The UMPs not really making much of an impact for now. All 5 players of SK outside the mid doors. We do have 3 NiP players in this position, trying to bait in the best they can. Exist. Might not have a chance here. He'll get 1 and taken down in the end. But Get Right, the UMP, doing some good work here. Still equal situation, 2-on-2. And the final play to come through. Can NiP hold on?
Cold Zero's the next in line with the flash over. Does create a space because they've gone passive on the site. They're going to play the retake on A. Rez will know to do so, just confirm that no one's behind at B, but it is going to be cold to hold the doorway. Rez to balcony. The next approach, and he's waiting for it, is Draken on the flank. Look how patient SK is being. They do not want to get caught out. Gun exchanged for Draken onto the AK. He's getting aggressive. He's getting fast. In position, misses the headshot toward Fallen. They now know where he is. And nade damage will do, well, actually, less than I thought. rather inconsequential as it takes Fallen down to 82, and he immediately finds Rez fast as ever. And SK a chance to wrap up the game right now in a 1 versus 2 against Draken, who was toward top mid. Now the question is, do they know that that's exactly how far back he was based on the timing of the nade? And the kill in which Fallen found immediately after. Crossfire set as well. Cold's not going to move on this at all. Fallen's the one searching for information. Shadow shows for Cold. And looking away as Draken expects a flash, he'll go down. It's SK to take the win. 5 points for them and 2 wins in the group.
GGs are exchanged after being down 11-4. It's SK Gaming that bounce back. The second half is theirs. It's going to be a pretty crushing defeat there for NiP. After looking relatively comfortable on overpass against Astralis, it seemed like they were in cruise control after the first half, but wasn't enough. And we'll throw it over to the analysts to see what they thought.
The GoDaddy post-match breakdown.
Here at the Xfinity Analyst Desk, thank you so much, Henry and Matt. We'll be seeing more from them as this tournament and this day does continue. We do have YNK and Sponge joining me then to walk through that one. And SK stabilize.
The GoDaddy post-match.
Yeah, they did. They did stabilize. And that first half was fantastic out of Rez and the NiP boys. I think the contact plays, the way they read rotations, it was fantastic. The fact that he was able to walk out on platform time and time again and just find multi-kills was just very damning. I don't know how much they looked into the tendencies that these SK guys have on their CT sides, but it looked like they were outplaying them and out-positioning in a lot of scenarios. Like a lot of tells you see with players throwing Molotov smokes and nades, they were just doing contact plays, and it was making it very difficult for SK to know when those attacks were coming in.
It did look like really good for NiP, though. I mean, we were kind of watching at times where the SK guys just got caught out of position, miscommunication, especially on that first half.
Yeah, that B defense seemed very disjointed at times. You know, they realized, okay, we lost platform control, but we don't really have drop control as well. So they were caught in the middle of trying to retake one of the two, and that was when Rez, 2 gun rounds in a row, just gets those flying AK one taps, one round, wins the round all by himself. So things really did look great for NiP in the first half, but then I really feel this game on both sides was just a great example of how difficult can it be to play the CT side of Cobblestone when you don't have a strong economy, right? Both teams never had a control of the economy on their CT side. They didn't have that utility to, stop the early aggressive plays, and then later on when you have a couple of UMPs perhaps, or Fallen had to go glass cannon almost every single time, right? That all those things add up and make it much more difficult for you to hold off for the whole round.
So that strong start cliche we often throw around is very applicable, though, to the CT side Cobble. Then you can make that statement as clear from this game alone, Chad.
Yeah, definitely. Henry said it during the cast. If they won that pistol round, it would have been good night, right? That would have probably been it for SK. And I think if you look at NiP and that defense, obviously wasn't fantastic at all. One of the 2 rounds they won was an eco with a Zeus kill in there. Like that kind of stuff doesn't happen every day of the week, especially on a map like Cobblestone. The fact that they were even able to grab that one was a huge accomplishment itself. But it's difficult to be on the receiving end of SK on the T side, right? They're just a steam train. They just run over you. When they get that, they swarm the bomb sites. They collapse onto you as soon as they find an opening. And you saw that time and time again. They're really good at taking the space once they find those opening frags, and that's something which it's very difficult for a lot of teams to do.
And something you would have probably wanted from NiP is to take an extra eco somewhere, right? Because unlike SK in the first half, they know how many rounds they need to win the game. So early on, when you're losing control, just go for the double eco and get that utility that's much needed on the CT side of Cobblestone.
Absolutely, and you kind of touched on it already. You mentioned the name Rez. We kind of saw Draken. He was delivering on the first map for NiP. He got those 2 ridiculous diffusers, a 1 versus 3. Now it's Rez, another new addition. And it does say new addition, of course. This was pre-player break, so it has been a while now. But still, new faces in the NiP jerseys in the history of Counter-Strike, and Rez has now been the one to come out all guns ablaze. Over 100 ADR, you can see he was really delivering on that T side. I mean, look at those AK-47 kills, 17 frags of the AK. I assume that's not necessarily just on the T side. He was scavenging at times, but in general, just wonderful to see that the old and the new boys are both firing on all cylinders. And Forrest was lurking. Can we talk about that?
It's kind of a nice change, right? It's good to not be rigid in the way that you approach and allow people to do different roles. And Forrest is a player that likes to take duels. So if you leave him on one side of the map and you want him to find a kill to force a rotation, he's the kind of guy to do it. But he was playing those situations smart as well as being aggressive, which is what you want from a lurker. You want them to be active, or you don't always need an active lurker. Like drop can be just a position where you pester as a lurker and then you can be passive, or you can go super late on that flank. But Forrest seemed a little bit more active in his role.
Absolutely, and we get to hear actually from one of the victorious players from SK. Targo is standing by, a player we're giving a whole lot of credit to in that pre-match. Let's check in with him now with Trace.
Hey, outstanding performance here by SK. Congratulations on the comeback. I mean, right away, I think Fallen just walked through here and said, if there's an SK player alive in the server, there's a chance we come back. How does it feel?
It feels the same, maybe. I mean, I don't know how we do this. It was an insane match, but I think we just never gave up. Ooh, nice.
Somebody's getting it over there.
So yes, I think we just never gave up, and we just played the match and we won.
Well, I mean, there's been a little bit of a change here, right? So you guys bring Bolts in full time. Going into this, Bolts is on fire, Fur is on fire. What is there to say about this new breath of air?
I think we are playing CSGO in the way we like to play. Now with Bolts, we have another passive player. We know the system that our team play in the best way possible, and I think we of course we need some time. We need some time to practice to fit Bolts on the team. But so far he's doing really well. He's a really good player. He's insane, and I'm pretty sure for this tournament we can show at least close to our 100% potential.
I think you guys are ready to fire away on all cylinders. You look like you got it under control there. You guys are set up to play the Mongols next. They're actually the ones that were making all the noise here a second ago. Tell me about that matchup.
They are the underdogs. Of course, everyone's expecting us to beat them, and I hope we can beat them. But being honest, we don't know the way they play. Maybe they can surprise us, and we have to play this game really seriously, really serious. Sorry. And I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be a good match. Every time we face those guys was not an easy match. If you get the history, was not an easy match. So I'm looking forward to play them.
Well, you guys are certainly on the comeback train, so keep up whatever it is you're doing over there. You guys are making it work. Either way, we're going to throw it back to the Xfinity analyst desk.
Thanks very much. That's Trez there with Taka. You got to see SK picking up another fantastic and rather hard-earned victory. They looked like they were against the ropes, but in typical SK fashion, it's not over until the 16 on the board, and they managed to do it all over again this time.
So a team that comes back as often as those guys, like they just seem to do it time and time again. They never give up.
It really is.
It's like the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah. I like that, and it is relevant. It's topical because in England our Energizer Bunny's like white, and I think in America it's pink for some reason. In case you're interested. Fun facts aside, let's bring up those standings. It's cool. You can Google it. We'll bring them up. This is, of course, the current update on how our first day is shaping up for the teams here for the Oakland group stage. SK have 2-0. They picked it up here both on Cobblestone twice versus Envious as well as NiP. You got to see that quick and rather comfortable 1-1 split for NiP. They thought they could do it twice after that first half on Cobble, and then you've got Cloud9 we'll be seeing next, already with one win under their belt. That was versus the Mongols, who are making an awful lot of noise, we got to hear.
And also SK are 2-0, but one of those wins was in overtime, so they don't get 3 points for that one, they get 2, so something that might make a difference after all the games are done.
Absolutely. All right, gents, we're going to go ahead and take a break, but you don't want to go anywhere because we've got Cloud9 Astralis next. We even have a player who's no stranger to the Cloud9 jersey. Jordan Nothing Gilbert will be joining us here on the panel, the Xfinity Analyst Desk, to talk through the next match after the break.